Happening now, New York's next governor talking mask mandates, her plan to have kids statewide mask up this fall. Plus, with all this heat and humidity, local farms are stepping up their game to keep cows cool.
Well, Fred has moved on out of the region. We'll talk about how much rainfall he left, plus the remainder of the forecast coming up as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
Police are investigating a report of a possible explosive device in a pickup truck outside the Library of Congress on Capitol Hill and have evacuated the area around the building. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. This is a live look at the scene from our affiliates in D.C. as U.S. Capitol Police say they have officers responding to a suspicious vehicle near the Library of Congress. You see now it looks like the fire trucks are starting to move into that area, the Washington, D.C. department, as they work. The actual scene is at the top of the hill, which would be at the top of your screen where the bomb squad has been set up. The building is near the Capitol building and the Supreme Court as well. Law enforcement officials say investigators were at the scene and working to determine whether the device was an actual explosive. Of course, we'll work to provide updates on this story as we get it at WNYNewsNow.com. Well, New York's lieutenant governor says she will likely roll out a mask mandate for schools statewide once she takes office next week. Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, while on a tour of a New York City area school yesterday, addressed mask mandates in schools and across the state. Her assertion about masks in schools is in contrast to guidance from Cuomo, who earlier this month said he lacks the legal authority to impose mask mandates on his own. Hochul said that nearly all school leaders and superintendents she's talked to support a mask mandate in schools, and she said the state could end up lifting a statewide mask mandate in parts where there are lower positivity rates.
Mask mandates is something that the Department of Health has the authority to call for. They have that authority now, and I will assess whether or not we'll know whether that's been called for, but I believe that we'll need mask mandates for children to go back to schools, and that'll have to be universal, it'll be statewide, and it also is something that was supported by 99% of the stakeholders on the call yesterday, actually probably 100.
This summer, Cuomo's administration decided not to release long-promised back-to-school guidance, which school leaders had expected include recommendations about wearing masks. Several area schools, including Jamestown Public Schools, have rolled out some sort of mask mandate for the fall. Well, as more students across the country return to the classroom, battles over that mask continue to rage on. Still, top U.S. health officials saying that it's key to keeping them safe. But which masks are best for your kids? Our Mandy Gaither diving deeper into that.
For millions of students and teachers, the beginning of the school year is spelling out chaos with quarantines, temporary closures, and moves to remote learning as COVID-19 cases climb.
Talking about flying blind relative to children, we need better data, and that's got to be the basis for action.
Admiral Brett Giroir, former coronavirus testing czar under President Donald Trump, says less than half of U.S. states report the number of children hospitalized for COVID-19. Because of that, he says the state-reported numbers are unknown in some places where children's hospitals are seeing a rise in cases.
We have a raging pandemic, and we do know with good data that if children wear masks in school, they can be safe.
So which mask is best for your child? A pediatrician says one they will wear.
If your child has been wearing a mask that they love for the last year and it still fits them well with that little nasal bridge that you can pinch down and there's no gaps on the sides and it curves under their chin.
The CDC says the best masks are those made for children, and the fit should be tested regularly to make sure it fits snugly and completely covers the child's nose and mouth with at least 2 layers of washable, breathable fabric.
If you can send a few with your child every day, wash them all at the end of the day, and I think that's sort of a good routine to get in the habit of.
I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. A new poll of more than 1,000 U.S. adults show nearly 70% of Americans support local school districts requiring everybody to wear masks when they're in school. Well, a former treasurer of a local union has been sentenced after pleading guilty to stealing over $50,000 in funds from a Celeron area labor group. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Buffalo says that 40-year-old Scott Russell Merritt of Celeron was sentenced to serve 2 years probation in order to pay $50,000 in restitution. Prosecutors say between May 2011 and August 2018, Merritt was the treasurer of Iron Workers Local 470. Now, as treasurer, he allegedly embezzled the money in union funds by writing checks to pay for various personal expenses. Well, with hot and humid temperatures dominating much of the area this summer, local farms are stepping up efforts to help keep cows cool. Now, Country Air Farm in DeWittville is among dairy farmers across our area who have implemented ways to help their cows beat the heat. Much like humans, as farmer's daughter Lily Woodis explains, her ranch uses fans, curtains, and most importantly, water to keep cows comfortable. The reason Woodis says is because heat can stress livestock, creating problems in milk production.
When a cow is comfortable and calm, they'll end up producing almost 10 to 15% more milk than if they were heat stressed in a sense. So we really like to keep them cool and calm because it really does help with our production.
Yeah, nobody wants to be hot. The family-owned farm regularly milks 750 cows, and they boast over 1,300 different animals, including calves. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now, and we hope you're finding a way to beat the heat today. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comment section down below if you're watching our live stream on Facebook, or if you're watching us on channel 716 on Roku. It's so easy to get involved if you're not. Simply search channel 716 and be sure to download that today. Great to see Jeremy. Good to see Colleen, Jay, Charlie, and Kelly. And Donna says she's watching us on Roku right now. So we thank you for taking us to your big screen, Donna. Well, now let's get a first check of our weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter standing by with that. And it's almost like one of those broken records situations, Dakota, where it's hot and it's humid.
Well, it's not really hot. It's mainly the humidity that's the main problem. We've got so much humidity in the air. I mean, it's almost the air you can wear, but this is a different scene than what we had yesterday. Warren City Bank showed you just a few of those clouds. Right now, the remnants of Fred have moved on out, and it's actually off the northeast right now. And you'll see we just have a couple scattered showers popping up on the radar. These have ultimately kind of fizzled away over the past couple of hours, and the remainder of the day should be dry, but we may see another couple scattered showers, mainly early this afternoon, and then by the time we go into this evening, all those will ultimately taper off. Only 70 was the high yesterday. The rain and the cloud cover really helped keep the temperatures down. Only started the day at 67, so temperatures really didn't drop off too much. Hey, how about this? The average high is down from 80 to 79. Yes, let's celebrate. Yes, that means cooler days. That means cooler days, statistically, are on the way. 95 and 36 are the record highs and lows for the state. Notice how I said statistically cooler days. 75 to 80 today, another humid day. Scattered showers taper off by later this afternoon. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies with a northwest wind. Now tomorrow will be an overall nice day. Then we'll get into some shower chances over the weekend, but that humidity not going anywhere anytime soon. We'll talk about it in detail with that 7-day forecast later in the show. Justin.
All right, Dakota, we'll see you back here in 10 minutes, my friend. New York State's Department of Health released data yesterday showing the efficiency of vaccines against COVID-19. The study is the first in the nation to be based on data collected from millions who have actually received the shot in the Empire State, rather than this data found in certain control groups during trials. Now, published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the study found that unvaccinated New Yorkers were 11 times more likely to be hospitalized and 8 times more likely to be diagnosed with the virus rather than those who were fully vaccinated. Public health scientists and epidemiologists from the department looked at rates of cases and hospitalizations among vaccinated New Yorkers 18 and older, comparing those rates to cases among unvaccinated from May 3rd to July 25th. The study found that during the evidence of the Delta variant and loosening social distancing and mask wearing requirements, Both groups did see an increase in COVID-19 cases. Well, President Biden has officially unveiled his administration's plan to roll out the COVID-19 booster shots to Americans. Our John Lawrence taking a closer look at what that means for you and me.
We have a responsibility to give the maximum amount of protection.
It's official. On September 20th, COVID-19 vaccine booster shots will be made available to Americans. The plan? Every adult gets a booster shot 8 months after receiving their second shot.
It will be easy. Just show your vaccination card and you'll get a booster. No other ID, no insurance, no state residency requirement.
But the World Health Organization is pushing back on COVID-19 booster shots, saying there isn't clear evidence they're needed, and that offering COVID-19 booster shots to the already vaccinated might be taking away from people who haven't been able to get their first dose.
We're planning to hand out extra life jackets to people who already have life jackets, while we're leaving other people to drown without a single life jacket. That's the reality. Science is not certain on this.
But President Biden and the Surgeon General both insist they can handle dishing out booster shots to Americans while continuing efforts to help vaccinate the rest of the world.
There's some world leaders who say America shouldn't get a third shot until other countries got their first shot. I disagree.
Getting people vaccinated is going to be key to preventing the rise of future variants. We know that, we see that clearly, and we believe we have to work on both fronts as we have been.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
John, thank you. The White House also says the Department of Health and Human Services will draw up new regulations that require staff at all nursing homes to receiving Medicare and Medicaid funds to get the vaccine. If they don't, the facility could lose their funding. Coming up next, a lot more to tell you about. More on how counties in our region plan to spend the millions they received, part of the American Rescue Plan. And later,
one of the newest museums in the Washington, D.C. area is home to the oldest branch of the U.S. military. I'm Matt Knadler. Coming up, we take you on a tour of the National Museum of the United States Army.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Located along the Amish Trail, the Randolph Retail Company offers a variety of clothing, jewelry, and gifts for any occasion. Offering uptown merchandise at small-town prices, our locally owned business balances quality and value. With complimentary gift wrap here at the Randolph Retail Company, we pride ourselves in personal service. Check out our Facebook page or stop in today at 127 Main Street, Randolph, just a 20-minute drive from Jamestown.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Warren County, Pennsylvania commissioners are discussing how they plan to spend the $7.6 million their county received part of the American Rescue Plan. Unlike other counties in our region, they don't quite yet have a specific plan laid out about how they'll distribute all that money, but they do have ideas as to where they want the millions to go towards. Elizabeth Meisner with our news partner Erie News Now has more.
As Warren County commissioners consider how to spend $7.6 million in federal money, they say they still have a lot of questions about how it can be used.
So that's part of our evaluation too, is to try to figure out definitively from the Treasury what we can use the money for and what we can. And until that's ironed out 100%. There isn't a whole lot that can be done with it.
County commissioners said they have plenty of ideas of what things they can do with this money, but they said first they need more guidance from the Treasury's office to make these ideas into plans.
They say a portion will be used for smaller housekeeping items, like paying a pandemic specialist, updating digital systems, and coming up with an emergency operations plan for county government.
Those are kind of small ticket items that in the grand scheme of millions of dollars is not going to cost the county very much.
One thing they plan to upgrade is the county's website. They want it to be a point of contact between the government and the community. They'll also include a tracker so the community can see how the money is spent. Some of these smaller projects are already underway. Outside of government, their biggest plans include broadband for the county, which they know could take years to complete.
We recognize in this community how weak our broadband network actually is, and became very clear with children trying to school from home that we have a significant problem in this county.
They've already formed a broadband task force, which is made up of people from the community, internet providers, and school board members.
As we look around, we are thinking that that value add for most of the people in this community will be the broadband effort that we move forward with.
As far as how the rest of the money is spent, they have ideas but are also open to the public's input.
We're hearing some needs for local nonprofits, some municipal projects where they didn't get enough ARPA money in order to, let's say, do a sewer or water program. They're asking us to help bridge the gap.
Commissioners say right now it's all about preparing for the projects they want to achieve.
At this time, we're not making any real decisions. We're just waiting, collecting those ideas, gaining feedback, and like the others have said, when we get the guidance, we'll make a decision.
Elspeth Meisner, Erie News Now.
Elspeth, thank you. Commissioners say they've reached out to the Treasury Department to get some clarification. They hope to hear back in the next few months. They're also open to ideas from community members, too. You can send your ideas in to their chief clerk at 814-724-3402. We have more information posted on our website, WNYNewsNow.com. Well, a one-stop wellness shop for healthy dogs and cats is set to take place this weekend. The Chautauqua County Humane Society is holding a low-cost healthy pet clinic for the public this Saturday at St. Luke's Episcopal Church from 10 until 1. No appointment is necessary. It's going to be a first-come, first-served basis, though. In addition to basic examination and core vaccinations, deworming and other wellness services will be provided as needed. There is also options to purchase flea and tick products, too. Participants should come prepared with their dogs leashed and cats in carriers. Cash and credit cards will be accepted. Well, from coast to coast, people are facing some extreme weather today. And as Britt Conway reports, unfortunately, there's more to come.
Fire in the west, flooding in the east, a record-breaking summer with more than a month still left. There are 104 large fires burning across the country, mostly in the west, where drought conditions continue to fuel the raging wildfires. Firefighters call the Northern California Caldor fire unprecedented after it nearly doubled in size Tuesday night. Thousands have been evacuated from their homes. Many have lost their homes altogether.
I don't know. Right now, I just feel like giving up.
And the Dixie Fire is still burning too. It's torn through more than 660,000 acres, and still, containment remains stagnant. On the East Coast, flooding after Tropical Depression Fred from Georgia to North Carolina.
And it happened so fast, the next thing I know, it was coming in for the floorboard.
Tearing apart homes, and now the fear, it's done the same to families. Dozens of people are still unaccounted for.
We have been searching abandoned vehicles, homes, buildings for survivors, and we'll continue to search.
And now it looks like the Northeast could be in for heavy rain and wind too. Some forecast models show Tropical Storm Henri headed that way, potentially reaching hurricane strength as early as the end of the day. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Britt, thank you. Meanwhile, parts of Tropical Storm Fred caused some flash flood damage here in New York State. This is video from our news partner at WNY in Elmira, New York, where floods caused thousands of dollars in damage to multiple businesses. Additionally, residents from the village of Addison were evacuated overnight due to heavy rains and subsequent flooding. They have since been given that all clear to return home. However, the excessive damage remains and cleanup only getting underway. However, the good news here, Dakota, as of our broadcast time, there has been no reports of any major injuries or deaths related to the rains there in Elmira. But still, just breathtaking footage about the amount of rain that they've seen.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, all day long yesterday we were hounding about how the heaviest rain was going to be off to the east, and that's where it was, as that actual center of low pressure tracked right over central New York, and that's where the heavier rain was going to be, closer to the storm center.
But I know we got a good amount of rain here too, however, specifically Randolph, where I live. We were one of the biggest winners when it comes to Cattaraugus County by the looks of it.
Yes, it was. I mean, you guys had a lot of rainfall. How about 3.90 inches? That's at the Mesonet site that's in Randolph right there, almost 4 inches of rain. Now, again, there was that flash flood watch in effect for Cattaraugus and Allegheny counties, and of course that has since expired, but you can see where the heavier rain was. That's, of course, as you get closer to the storm center, that's where the heavy rain was. How about Clymer at only 0.17 of an inch yesterday? And we still do have a warning in effect. It's actually for Allegheny County. It is a aerial flood warning right here for Allegheny County. And that is because there's still some River Creek flooding going on because of the heavy rain. So again, if you're out there out towards Cuba, Friendship, Wellsville, you do have that flood warning out there. That's just an aerial flood warning. And here's where Fred. Henri is way out here. This is Fred. I'm ready for the weekend. And you can see here the remnants of Fred is now over central New York, south of Syracuse. You can see all the flash flood warnings down near Boston, Mass right now. That's where the heavy rain is falling. High pressure is building in back to the west. That's going to move in tomorrow, and that's really going to clear out our skies for tomorrow. So that's the next weather maker. Let's show you the newest Runner Future Scan, and it paints that picture of a few scattered showers through the day today. And again, these will come to an end by later this afternoon. It's not a big deal, nothing like we went through yesterday. We may even see some partial sunshine late in the day towards sunset. And then by the time we go into tonight, the clouds will start to part, but it should be partly to mostly cloudy. And look at tomorrow. Not really a cloud showing up here. Okay, there's a couple. I exaggerated. But there will be a couple clouds in the sky, but we're hopeful we'll see some partly to mostly sunny skies through the day tomorrow. Should be mainly dry. Thursday we'll get in, or on Friday we'll get into a better chance of a couple more showers and thunderstorms through the day on Friday. So current temperatures right now, as of noon hour right now, we're currently peaked at 75 degrees. That's what I thought it was. 75, northeast wind of 8 with a dew point of 69. And with that dew point up there, it's still feeling muggy out there. So that is the problem. The muggies are not going anywhere anytime soon, and it's going to stay with us for at least the next couple of days. So the zone forecast, the inland areas, we're likely going to top out in the mid to upper 70s today, and you'll see the temperatures coming up here, and temperatures likely lower to upper 70s or mid to upper 70s for most areas. The showers end, but it's going to remain humid through the day. Now, the next 7 days of your life are on the screen. We got rays of hope on the forecast for Friday. We're hopeful of that. A few more showers and storms Saturday and Sunday. Then just a chance for another scattered showers and storms Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at that, drying out, but it still will be warm and muggy. We'll take a break. Be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
but 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
We continue our Reopening DC series, where our Washington correspondent Matt Knadler is highlighting how some of the top tourist spots in the nation's capital are handling the pandemic. And today, he takes us to one of the region's newest sites, the National Museum of the U.S. Army.
The National Museum of the United States Army was originally set to open its doors in June 2020, but of course the pandemic shifted everything around, forcing the D.C. area's newest museum to open later than expected last Veterans Day. Now, after rising cases closed the museum last December, they are back open full-time.
We're really excited to be able to open our doors not only to our veterans and currently serving soldiers, but to the American public.
Once inside, visitors will learn more about the Army's 245-year history and its role in the nation's history, from the Revolutionary War to the War on Terrorism. The museum is laid out almost like a mall, where you can do a little window shopping of sorts to see what interests you before you head in and check out the full exhibit. Susan Smullen, the museum's public affairs officer, tells me that was intentional.
It's a really wonderful way that if you only have enough time to walk the concourse, you'll still feel like you've been able to explore what the museum would offer in that historic timeline.
The National Museum of the U.S. Army is more than just artifacts, and there are some pretty noteworthy items in there as well, like this Vietnam-era Huey helicopter or weapons from colonial militias. But curators here make the experience more personal by sharing soldier stories along the way. Visitors can actually begin reading a veteran's profile outside of the complex.
Now you know who carried that artifact, where that artifact had been, and what it had experienced with that soldier as a part of history.
A lot of the exhibits at the museum are also very interactive. For example, you have this sliding display, this monitor, that will tell you each artifact behind the glass and the history of it.
So there's a little bit of something for everyone, depending on the type of visitor and the visitor experience that you would like to have.
The museum itself is located near an Army base, Fort Belvoir in Virginia, about 15 miles outside of Washington, D.C. And a bit of a fun fact, the Army is the oldest branch of the military, but it's the last branch to have its own museum. It gives longtime visitors to D.C. a chance to see something new, and for everyone to learn more about the men and women in uniform.
Army history is America's history. The Army was here at the birth of our nation.
In Fort Belvoir, Virginia, Matt Knadler reporting.
Matt, thank you. Just another one to throw on the bucket list today. Really incredible. And it's interesting that they're one of the first branches of our armed forces, yet they haven't had a museum up until this point. And it looks good, because that's one of the biggest things I imagine for most people, Dakota, is trying to get engaged with history. If you're not a huge history buff like myself, like I wouldn't mind just walking around reading about it, but having those interactive exhibits probably makes it a little easier, especially
wonder where they got
kids.
that idea from.
Yeah, to get involved. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, they have that down there on 2nd Street over at the NCC, so it's really, really great idea.
Well, I mean, I think, I kind of think, having the interactive exhibits, I kind of think that's bringing museums into the 21st century.
Right. It brings it to life. It
right,
really does.
Because, I mean, when you think of a museum, you think of, you're going to walk around and have a tour guide talk about art.
Right.
And it's not really like that anymore, so.
You can do so much. Well, that's going to do it for us today. We are back tomorrow, live here at noon. Hope to see you then.